Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a life that no longer fits, yet you keep wearing it like a coat that's grown too tight? You walk through your days with a whisper in your chest, a pressure, a silence, a kind of grief you can't explain. Everyone around you thinks you're fine, maybe even thriving, but inside, something's dying, or maybe something's trying to be born. And yet, you hesitate, you ask for change, you long for clarity, you want the breakthrough. But deep down, you know it. You're not ready. And that's not an insult. It's a mirror, a brutal one. Because before the universe hands you what you've asked for, it asks you a far more difficult question. Have you become someone who can hold it without breaking? That's why it all falls apart first. Not because you're cursed, not because you're broken, but because transformation demands truth. And truth burns through everything that is fake, borrowed, inherited, and outdated. Friendships dissolve, jobs collapse, the body gets sick, your motivation vanishes, and you stand there, confused, thinking life is being unfair. But maybe what's actually happening is this. The universe is not punishing you. It's refining you. See, the biggest barrier between you and the life you say you want isn't out there. It's the version of yourself that's still holding on to the past. The you who wants to evolve but refuses to let go. Who wants peace but still feeds off the drama. Who says, I want something different, but trembles at the thought of dying to what's familiar. Yes, dying. Because real change doesn't feel like a makeover. It feels like death. A slow burning away of all the masks you've worn to feel safe. The ones that made you likable, agreeable, invulnerable. But those masks, they're suffocating you now. They once protected you. Now they imprison you. And this is where Carl Jung steps into the silence. He saw what most of us refuse to face. That the unconscious, tired of your delay, will throw you into chaos. Not to destroy you, but to expose you. Because chaos is the soul's native language. It knows that growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from collapse. So when the betrayal comes, when the door slams, when you're left in the ashes of what used to be, don't rush to rebuild. Don't scramble to look whole again. Stay there, in the ruins. Look around. Because what's falling apart is not your life. It's your illusion. And here's the brutal truth. Suffering isn't your enemy. It's your invitation. Pain isn't failure. It's the signal. It's the crack in the armor you've outgrown. And if you dare to go through it instead of around it, you will find that the most sacred part of the transformation isn't the future you dream of, but the version of you that you meet along the way. Because the universe doesn't respond to your desires, it responds to your frequency. You don't get what you ask for, you get what you're willing to become. And to become that, you'll have to stop negotiating with your comfort zone. You'll have to stop explaining your pain away. Stop justifying why you're still shrinking to fit old roles. You'll have to stop asking for the new while clinging to the old like a lifeline. The test isn't out there. The test is always within. Can you let the part of you that craves control go quiet? Can you allow yourself to break, not into pieces, but into truth? Can you stop fighting the silence long enough to hear what it's trying to show you? Because this moment you're in, it isn't a delay, it's a doorway. It's the in-between, the sacred space between what you were and what you're becoming. And it's here, in this uncomfortable pause, that you're being watched, not by others, by life itself. It's watching to see what you'll choose when no one's clapping, when there's no spotlight, no validation, no proof that the leap will land anywhere safe. Will you still move? Because this isn't about who claps for you when you shine. It's about who you become when everything goes silent. You say you want a new life, but are you willing to let your old self die? It's a cruel joke the universe plays, or so it seems. You think transformation is about receiving, but before you ever get what you want, you're stripped of everything you no longer need. That's the real preparation. Not the vision boards, not the prayers, not the planning, the undoing, the unraveling, the slow, merciless crumbling of all the ways you once survived. And it hurts. God, it hurts. Because you don't just lose people. You lose identities, roles, illusions. You lose the comfort of the cage you didn't know you built. And in that space, where the walls fall and the noise dies, you finally hear it, the echo of the life you were never meant to live. That's the moment, right there, the one when you realize nothing outside of you can save you. Not the job, not the relationship, not the next big opportunity. Because what has to change isn't your circumstances, it's your consciousness. You have to become someone whose presence changes the room, not someone still waiting for the room to change. And this is where Jung returns, not as a scholar but as a witness. He said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." In other words, you don't evolve by chasing positivity. You evolve by turning around and facing what you've spent a lifetime avoiding, your shadow, the fear you masked as responsibility, the anger you rebranded as passion, the people-pleasing you convinced yourself was kindness. These aren't flaws, they're survival strategies. But what got you here won't get you there. They must be faced, not with judgment, but with radical honesty. Because here's what no one tells you. The universe doesn't test your strength. It reveals your blind spots. Pressure doesn't create your cracks. It just shows you where they were hiding. So when life presses down on you, when nothing works anymore, it's not a sign of failure. It's an X-ray, an unveiling. And you have two choices, suppress or see. See what stories you keep repeating because they make you feel safe. See what beliefs you inherited but never questioned. See what version of yourself is still trying to be loved the way a child begs for attention. See, and then choose differently. Because awareness breaks the cycle. Not time, not luck, awareness. And awareness always begins with pain. You say you want change, but do you have the courage to face what you've buried? Do you have the courage to feel it all, the disappointment, the rage, the shame, and not turn away, to not numb it, deny it, spiritualize it, or wrap it in philosophy? Because if you can do that, you've already begun to transform, but you'll have to let go. Let go of being the one who always knows, the one who always appears fine, the one who can't rest until everything is under control. Because control is the ego's last defense. It tells you, if I can just understand it, I'll survive it. But understanding isn't the doorway. Trust is. And trust doesn't come from guarantees. It comes from falling and realizing you didn't die. So yes, let it go. Let the version of you that was built on fear crumble. Let the one who needs approval dissolve. Let the part of you that keeps waiting for a sign finally stop looking outside. Because the sign is already within you. It always has been. And once you start listening, really listening, everything changes. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this revealing in me? That's the shift. That's the point. You realize life isn't cruel. It's precise. Every fall was a mirror. Every loss was a lesson. Every delay was protection. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Prepared to become someone who doesn't need to chase what they want, because their energy begins to attract it. Someone who no longer says, "I hope it works out," but rather, "I'm becoming the person for whom it already has." And when you reach that frequency, things start to move. But not because life changed. Because you did. You stopped begging. You stopped pretending. You stopped performing. And in that stillness, in that sacred pause between death and rebirth, you stopped being who the world wanted and started becoming who your soul remembers. So I'll ask you again, are you ready to hold what you've asked for? Because if you are, stop resisting the fall. Let go of the version of you that was created to please, to survive, to be accepted. It served its purpose. But its time is over. You are not meant to survive this life. You are meant to become in it. And everything that hurts right now, everything that confuses you, is the fire forging the version of you that can. The one that can love without losing herself. The one that can speak without apologizing. The one that doesn't need proof. Because her presence is the proof. In the next part, we'll step into the most difficult truth of all. You're not waiting for a sign. You're waiting for permission to stop waiting. You've asked for a miracle. You've begged the universe for clarity, for a break, for something, anything, that proves you're not alone in this. And yet, all you hear is silence. But here's the secret that shatters illusions. The universe doesn't speak in words. It speaks in frequencies. And it's not ignoring you, it's observing you. Not your intentions, not your declarations, but your movements, your energy, your alignment. That's what decides if the next door opens or stays shut. You say you're ready, but are you acting like someone who is? Because readiness isn't a feeling. It's not confidence. It's not certainty. It's decision. And most people never make it past the decision. They rehearse it, they dream about it, they prepare for it endlessly, but they don't leap. Why? Because the unknown is terrifying. Because once you leap, you lose the comfort of saying, "I'm working on it." You lose the luxury of later. You step out of the waiting room and into the arena, where your truth has to stand without armor. This is where the sabotage begins. Quietly, cleverly. You tell yourself you're still preparing, that you need more time, that you're not quite healed enough, trained enough, brave enough. But the truth is, you're not afraid of failing. You're afraid of succeeding, because success, true transformation, means you can no longer hide. It means becoming the version of yourself that doesn't ask for permission, that doesn't apologize for her power, that doesn't pretend to be smaller than she is, just to make others comfortable. It means responsibility. It means exposure. It means standing up and saying, "This is me, and I'm no longer negotiating my essence." And your mind, your protective, brilliant mind, knows exactly how to keep you from that threshold. It spins loops. It says, "Let's plan more, learn more, wait just a little longer." You keep moving, but only in circles. You feel busy, but nothing shifts. Sound familiar? That's the trap of infinite preparation, the illusion of progress. And it's seductive. Because as long as you're preparing, you don't have to risk anything. You don't have to leap into the dark without knowing what's on the other side. But listen carefully. The leap is the preparation. The fall is where you find the wings. You don't become ready before. You become ready during. This is why transformation feels like breaking. Because you're being asked to trade everything familiar for something you can't yet see. To let go of your old identity, the one you built from fear, from defense, from need, and step into one shaped by truth. But how do you let go? By grieving it. Grieving the self you thought you had to be. The one who always said yes. The one who stayed quiet. The one who tried so hard to be what others needed, she forgot what she needed. That's not weakness. That's survival. But it's time to move beyond survival. Because you didn't come here to endure. You came here to embody. To stop living on the surface and start burning from the inside out. Until only the real you remains. And yes, it will cost you. It will cost you certainty. It will cost you comfort. It will cost you the admiration of those who only loved the mask. But what you'll gain is beyond anything you've ever imagined. Peace, integrity, power. The kind of power that doesn't scream. It radiates. The kind that doesn't manipulate outcomes. It aligns with them. The kind that doesn't beg for miracles, because it becomes one. But you'll only meet that version of yourself if you stop waiting for conditions to be perfect. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for the pain to pass, the fear to fade, the applause to come. None of that happens first. You decide first. Then the clarity comes, not the other way around. So here you are, on the edge of who you were and who you're meant to become. The edge of another cycle, or a new story. And only you can decide if you'll leap or keep collecting reasons not to. You've heard the voice in your soul whispering enough. Enough waiting, enough repeating, enough hiding. That voice isn't asking you to be fearless. It's asking you to be honest. So ask yourself now, what would your life look like if you finally stopped negotiating with fear? What would shift if you chose to become the person who no longer postpones her power? Because somewhere in another version of this moment, you already did. That version of you, the one who decided, who jumped, who burned the excuses and stepped into her frequency, she already exists. In her world, the change already happened. The life you long for is already unfolding. So the question isn't, when will it come? The question is, when will you start acting like it's already yours? In a moment, I'll leave you with that question. But before I go, remember this. You don't need more time. You need more truth. You don't need a sign. You are the sign. You don't need to be more ready. You need to be more willing. And the universe? It's not waiting to grant you permission. It's waiting to see if you'll give it to yourself.